Louis Van Gaal, the Manchester United manager, spent just a few minutes fielding questions from journalists today before walking out of a news conference in response to all the speculation about his future at the club. He's been criticised recently because United have been knocked out of the Champions League and they've also lost their last 6 games. So let's join our sports correspondent David Ornstein at Old Trafford tonight.
Hugh, this was an extraordinary performance from Louis Van Gaal, the like of which we rarely see in top-level sport. The big question, though, is was this premeditated, an attempt to galvanise the players, fans and staff to create a siege mentality? Or was it a sign of Louis Van Gaal beginning to show the strain of Manchester United's worst run of form in 17 years?
But now, after a run of 6 games without victory, the pressure is on, and today the media bore the brunt.
Has anybody in this room not a feeling to apologize to me? Nobody has that feeling? That's what I'm wondering. I was already sacked. I have read. I have been sacked. I helped my players. I wish you a Merry Christmas and maybe also a Happy New Year when I see you. And enjoy the wine and a mince pie. Goodbye.
And with that, he was off. The glare said it all. But if Van Gaal felt isolated, he found a friend in a rival, the Premier League's longest-serving manager.
I have personally a huge respect for Louis Van Gaal, and I think what's going on there at the moment is disrespectful, you know, and this guy has worked for 30 years in football and has delivered unbelievable quality of work.
But the world's biggest clubs demand success, and Van Gaal must now call upon all his experience to deliver what Manchester United expect.
Well, here at Manchester United, they've seen some extraordinary things over the years, but probably nothing like that press conference. It lasted less than 5 minutes. He only fielded 2 questions before he decided to call time on his media requirements.
Despite some reports to the contrary, Jose Mourinho's agent said today that there is no agreement for the Portuguese to take over here. But it is the sudden availability of Mourinho and possibly his great rival Pep Guardiola at the end of the season that is fueling the fires of speculation raging around the future of Louis Van Gaal.
As you heard earlier here on Sky News, Jose Mourinho is on course to replace Louis Van Gaal as Manchester United manager. Mourinho declined to comment on the reports when we caught up with him earlier today in London. We understand Mourinho's agent, Jorge Mendes, will arrive in England on Tuesday for talks, and Mourinho comes with a track record.
Yes, very good evening. We know, of course, the destination of the FA Cup. It's on its way up from London to Manchester as we speak, and it would appear that is the route that will be very shortly taken by Jose Mourinho. He's been out and about in London today as speculation continues to mount about his future here at Old Trafford. We broke the news yesterday that he's set to become the United manager. There's talk of a 3-year deal for Mourinho, the special one coming to the Theatre of Dreams. It's a perfect script, if you like, in many respects. But today, as last night at the boxing at the O2 Arena, Mourinho just keeping his silence, maybe out of respect to his good friend Louis Van Gaal. He doesn't really, or maybe he just doesn't want to upset negotiations that we believe will be starting on Tuesday when his agent Jorge Mendes flies in, we believe, from China to Manchester to get this deal signed and already sorted for his man. But that's our understanding tonight. Mourinho just waiting in the wings, ready to make his move to Old Trafford.
Manchester United are going to make a statement at 1 o'clock British summertime in an hour and a quarter, and I'm expecting them to confirm that Louis Van Gaal is no longer the manager. Being widely reported by the Manchester-based football correspondents of national newspapers in the last half an hour that Van Gaal and his Dutch coaching team have been informed this morning that their contracts have been ended. Van Gaal will not see out the final year of his contract, and he has been sacked. Not confirmed yet by sources at United to me, I should say, but we do know there'll be a statement, and pretty certain that's what it's going to say.
With British media reporting that Louis Van Gaal is on his way out and Jose Mourinho is about to become the team's new manager. Mourinho's agent is thought to be flying from China to the UK to finalise a deal. If Jose takes over, Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Alvaro Morata are believed to be among his transfer targets. Amanda, let's start with how this has all been handled. Have United got it right or not?
No, I think in a word. But maybe this is the new norm at Manchester United. In years gone by, we would never, ever have seen this situation. There was always a very clear plan. But somehow they seem to have got this even more wrong than they did with David Moyes taking over.
Because it's all come 24 hours after winning the FA Cup, the first trophy they've won since Radix's departure.
We're still waiting for confirmation, but it looks like Louis Van Gaal's reign here is over. The next chapter at Manchester United looks like being a special one.
After Van Gaal celebrated winning the FA Cup. Let's go live to the club's training ground at Carrington and Vinnie O'Connor. Vinnie, good afternoon to you. What can you tell us?
Well, as you mentioned, the announcement that we're expecting from Manchester United, been widely reported that there is going to be an announcement at 1 o'clock this afternoon, which coincidentally is the same time that the New York Stock Exchange opens, of course. Louis Van Gaal has been at Carrington since 8:45 this morning. An hour after that, he was joined by Paul Gilroy, QC, who is an employment lawyer. He works with the League Managers Association. He also helped out with the severance of David Moyes when he was Manchester United manager, and it looks to be that he's been doing a similar job today.
Lifted the club's first major silverware for 3 years. Success or not, United's American owners had already made up their minds, which may have explained a tetchy yet knowing performance for the media.
I don't want to talk about leaving the club. I don't discuss it with my friends of the media, who already sacked me for 6 months. Which manager can do that? What I have done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the congratulations.
Managers come and go faster than ever. You know, the average manager hardly lasts a year now. That's the world we live in, I'm afraid.
As Van Gaal was driven away this afternoon, there was no comment, just a polite wave, his last act for the cameras.
We heard him say it's over there. United say Van Gaal was simply referring to the season being over. Meanwhile, the players are making their way home following yesterday's win. Jesse Lingard, who scored the winning goal against Crystal Palace, was one of the first to emerge, followed closely by United's other goal scorer there, Juan Mata. Ana Herrera, Anthony Martial were also some of the early risers after the United team celebrated their 12th FA Cup title long into the night, we're told. Assistant manager Ryan Giggs, also one of those to board the official team coach, as was former United captain and club director Sir Bobby Charlton amongst the well-wishers there.
As well, as was Ryan Giggs. Now, Ryan Giggs has left the training ground. We know as much as that, and we wait to see what happens with his future. But as far as Louis Van Gaal is concerned, he has been sacked as manager of Manchester United after completing 2 years of a 3-year contract. He bows out with one FA Cup, and the first FA Cup Manchester United won in some 12 years, their 12th overall as well. But it was the fact that he couldn't secure Champions League football for Manchester United is the reason why the club felt he fell short of his targets and have sought to replace him. And what a name that they intend to replace him with as well.
As Louis Van Gaal left the training ground this afternoon, there were no words, just a wave goodbye, his final act as Manchester United manager. Tonight, the confirmation that it was all over. Executive Vice Chairman Ed Woodward congratulated Van Gaal on his excellent work in the past 2 years, adding that he had behaved with great professionalism and dignity. In his own statement, Van Gaal said, "It has been a huge honour to manage such a magnificent club. I'm very disappointed to be unable to complete our intended 3-year plan. I believe that the foundations are firmly in place to enable the club to move forward and achieve even greater success." Wembley, he celebrated as United won their first FA Cup in 12 years, but the club had already decided his time was up.
For the majority of clubs, winning the FA Cup will be a springboard to the next season. For us, it's been a finale. All I want to do is for Manchester United to act in the best interest of the club. Personally, you know, treat Van Gaal right. You know, he's had a great career. I'm only sorry that it's ended this way for him.
And there have been some further developments. Tonight we understand that the club's announcement was delayed to allow Louis Van Gaal to leave the country, that they've made an offer to Ryan Giggs to stay and he's gone away to think about it, and the club's hierarchy will meet with Jose Mourinho's agent tomorrow, and that's when we think a deal will be agreed.
Go home, go home. Ignoring questions about Manchester United is now second nature to Jose Mourinho. The world might have been waiting for Old Trafford's official confirmation, but his removal team certainly wasn't.
I think that what he's going to have to do is to adapt into the Manchester United ethos. He's going to have to say, I'm going to play the Manchester United way, and by doing that, he'll win supporters over, I'm sure.
Not all the hierarchy at Manchester United believe that Jose Mourinho is the right fit, but he's a big personality, he has a winning CV, and it's a job he's coveted for some time. As risks go, it doesn't feel like the biggest. Steve Scott, News at 10, Old Trafford.
I think it's a pity, really. Just winning the FA Cup, really, it's our first major trophy for 3 seasons. We really should be celebrating that and letting Van Gaal have his time in the spotlight. I feel somewhat sorry for him, but it's about Manchester United, and that's the overriding concern here.
Go home, go home.
What are you going to be doing with all the players?
The man tipped to replace Van Gaal also stayed silent today, although removal men were spotted outside Jose Mourinho's London home, and his agent is understood to be meeting with United officials tomorrow. David Chisnell, ITV News, Manchester.
Despite spending millions on players, he had failed to qualify for the Champions League. United have expectations he just couldn't meet. While all this unfolded, Mourinho was watching boxing at the O2. It's understood an agreement with United had already been reached.
It's quite exciting, especially with the whole thing with Guardiola being at City. There's the naughty side of me thinks that's going to be spicy.
Although Van Gaal's gone out, obviously we're winning a trophy. I think it needed change, and with the managers that are about at this moment in time, I think obviously Mourinho is probably the best man for the job.
Sir Alex Ferguson won 38 trophies in nearly 3 decades at Old Trafford. Mourinho's record doesn't suggest that kind of longevity, but he is a proven winner and certainly won't be overawed by the challenge of trying to step out of Ferguson's shadow.